lyrics are one of the main things that like make the band. I think guitars and that, it's just all brilliant.
Yeah, they're just so original and there's nothing like them and they're just incredible.
Brett is just pure sex.
Looking at what's happening in music today, is there anyone you'd use your notoriety to champion?
Suede. I love them. Suede, don't you love them?
Do not call them glam, they say they're not. They also say they're not retro. But Suede was named Britain's best new band in 1992, and that's the media cross they've had to bear. Do they deserve all the press? Better yet, what makes a band flavor of the month? Is it the look? Is it the sound? Is it the hype? Well, we'd like to think that it's the music, but whatever it is, some people say Suede has it.
Don't we make it called you the best band in the world?
No, they called us that before we had anything out.
Before the first single.
Before the first
Okay.
single. It was quite a kind of like a coup, a sort of scam of, you know, hype, media, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But, I mean, it wasn't anything to do with us. They just decided to champion us, you know. We were kind of sitting there sort of scratching our heads.
That's wondering how it would affect your ego in the band.
Not very much at all. It's not a big deal getting in the press. We're not particularly infatuated or in awe of the press. The British music press is, all you have to do is say a few statements about the right sorts of things and you can get a front cover. It's not difficult.
The real problem is that you do need the press. You know, I mean, that's how people got to hear about us. That's the reason why. But it stops after a single actually meaning anything because people actually hear you.
Musical influences. What were you listening to when you were growing up that may have influenced what you're doing now?
Funk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Beatles and things. Lots of chart music. Lots of stuff in the charts.
Bowie's been cited a lot.
Bowie, listened to a lot of him. Smiths, The Fall, Joy Division, Kate Bush, all that sort of stuff.
We like the kind of records that most people like. There's this very strange thing where musicians always seem to try and outdo each other with the most obscure, unknown thing that didn't sell any records at the time. And we've never been like that. I always loved the times when a band could be completely popular and completely good at the same time.
That's a song about rough, violent sex, I suppose. And domestic violence and stuff.
Drugs seem to be featured heavily in there too. Or the imagery of drugs. And I wondered if that was an influence in your life in any way.
Yeah, major influence.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what way?
I take a lot of them, and I always have done. And when you come from a horrifying, stultifying little tip heap that I came from, that's probably the only thing to do, the only way of escaping. It's not a big deal. It's just again like all of any of the other subjects. It's addressing a certain amount of reality, and not glossing over it. I think it's dealt with quite realistically. I don't think I particularly glamorise any of it. It's just that some of it's just a comment. There's a song called Sleeping Pills, which is really just a song about bored housewives.
Did you receive any flack from anybody when the album came out? I mean, in America and somewhat Canada, there's a very big push on anti-drug messages in songs. And I wondered if in England...
Lots of the songs, I mean, every song that mentions drugs in that song, it could be described as an anti-drug song, yeah. If you want to put it into black and white terms.
Yeah.
The sleeping pills, the line is, don't take those sleeping pills.
Right.
And in So Young, is the line is, let's chase the dragon from our home.
Yeah.
They're all quite jubilantly anti-narcotic.
No,
It's like the idea of inspiration through desperation. You're so desperate that something good comes out of it.
We've got absolutely no interest in any kind of 70s revival whatsoever.
I can't think of anything more pointless.
It was a completely...
Anything with less life than being some part of some revival. We're not, like I say, we're not part of any movement at all. It's what other people slip you into. We don't hobnob with other stars and try and get, you know, in with scenes and stuff like that. This 70s thing is just some journalists sitting bored in the top of some glass tower in South London have decided to dream up something and so arrange the pieces in a way that suits their theory. And that's what happens with music.
I can't think of anything more annoying than people who sort of go on about what a hard time they have because people keep recognising them, and then next week they're on the front cover of a magazine. I mean, it's really simple. If you don't want to be recognised, don't go on the front cover of magazines. You know, I mean, for me, it's completely fine because I was brought up on the idea of the pop star and the worth of the pop star. And I think the best thing about it is it's a relationship where no one loses. We get something from them and they get something from us.
It's kind of like very safe sex, really, isn't it? You know.
Secret.
Yeah.
Incredibly safe.